What's up, party people? It's your boy Sphen. Some people know me as Big Oof. I'm here today to talk about the 2024 national primaries, baby. If I'm gonna be doing politics, you sure as hell know I'm gonna be covering the elections, 'cause that's how you gain traction. This primary season is whack. I'm just gonna front. I don't know what's going on. Most of you are probably expecting me to talk about the Republican primary, so here we go. Here's how the primary's going. You got Trump at almost 58%. Oh god, it is so over for these other clowns, bro. Like, I'm not covering any specifics on the Republicans because there's only two things that are gonna happen here, right? Like, either Trump wins the primary, or he gets arrested and goes to jail. There's no shot fucking meatball Ron DeSantis over here is gaining any traction. I mean, I thought he would be even lower at this point, but his opponents aren't really doing much. Like, DeSantis just kind of sucks. He's both boring and also just insulting to look at and listen to. Nikki Haley, I thought she had a good chance. She had some good rhetoric at the start, but she's too much of your average neocon, 2011 Republican. That doesn't work anymore. And then Ramaswamy is a fucking joke. Like, what do I even say about this dude? He's trying so hard to be just like his daddy Trump, his fucking glorious leader, and it's just not working. Like, you're running against him, bro. You can't be him. He's probably, out of all of these clowns, the one who the most needs Trump to get arrested. Because then he can be like, oh, I'll pardon Trump. Because that's his policy position, is he wants to fucking pardon Trump if he gets arrested. Fucking clown show over here. That's Republicans. There's really not much to say. That's not really why I'm making this video, actually. So, I've seen a lot of talk recently on Twitter Leftyverse, which is the worst place to be, but it's also the only place to get actually good information. I still stand by that. If you're looking for a specific political clip, and you want the original clip, you go to Twitter search bar. Because if you try and search YouTube, you have a million fucking CBS clips of some talking heads talking for like 8 minutes, not showing the clip you're looking for. That's a whole other topic, though. People on the leftyverse are like, oh, we still gotta vote for Biden, though, after all this is happening. And that's BS. It's fucking horse shit. Because the election's a year out. We don't need to be doing the whole vote blue no matter who yet. It's not time. It's not time. We still got time to change course. And the way we do that is that we pressure Biden and say, no, we're not going to vote for you, asshole, until you do something about this Gaza situation. And, of course, I'm not insane. That's a bluff. If it does end up to be Biden v. Trump, I'm voting Biden as much as it's gonna pain me to do so. But we gotta front. We gotta bluff it. We gotta put our message out there, or else you're just gonna be cucked to the DNC for the rest of your life. Here, let's get into why I think we need a Democratic primary, and we need it fast, and we need to be fair, and we need there to be debates, and the whole shebang. I know that this doesn't usually happen, and the DNC really doesn't want it to happen, because they know Joe Biden's gonna get shellacked on the debate stage by anyone. Literally anyone. Any other Democrat, any outsider. It's gonna be a complete shit show. But we gotta make him do it, because Biden is losing numbers fast. And the DNC is hoping that we just, a year passes, the whole Gaza situation cools down, and maybe, the American goldfish brain will kind of forget and forgive. That's a pretty tried and true strategy. It worked in the midterms when he pulled out of Afghanistan, people were mad at him, a year passes, everything's honky-dory. But the issue is, at the current rate of how things are going, this conflict isn't going to end anytime soon. Maybe a year from now, we'll still be talking about this. Has anyone considered that? I mean, that's kind of my issue. When is Israel going to stop? When is the state of Israel going to be like, okay, we've done enough? There's no end goal, really. Taking out all the terrorists is not realistic. That's how you get forever wars. That's how you get the war on terror. So, that's why I think there's no chance that Biden can win, because in a year, we're still going to be talking about this, and it's his fault that it's happening, and everyone who cares about Palestine is going to be blasting him for it. All the lefties and even lots of Democrats at that point are going to be blasting his ass. They're not going to want to vote for him. And then Republicans are going to think that he's not pro-Israel enough because they're all stupid. Yeah, so let's take a look at our two options, huh? Trump versus Biden? Is this really what we want to happen? Here's Biden.
Days since Hamas killed 1,400 Israelis, the Hamas-controlled Gaza Health Ministry says Israeli forces have killed over 6,000 Palestinians, including 2,700 children. You've previously asked Netanyahu to minimize civilian casualties. Do these numbers say to you that he is ignoring that message?
What they say to me is I have no notion that the Palestinians are telling the truth about how many people are killed. I'm sure innocents have been killed, and it's the price of waging a war. I think we should be incredibly careful. I think not we, the Israelis should be incredibly careful to be sure that they're focusing on going after the folks that are the...
Yeah, that's Biden. That's our guy? That's the guy we're going to be holding water for? I don't think so. I don't think you can just lose the entire Arab vote and expect to win. You can't. The Democrats need their minority votes. That's how they get by, because the Republicans get the white people. This is like basic U.S. politics. But here's Trump. Here's the alternative. Now, I want to be very clear. If it's Trump v. Biden, excuse me, if it's Trump v. Biden, we're still voting Biden, okay? Here's the alternative to what you just heard from Biden.
When I'm back in the Oval Office, we will cut off every penny of money that we send to the Palestinians and the terrorists on day one.
Boo!
Israel in defeating, dismantling, and permanently destroying the terrorist group known as Hamas. But most importantly, we will keep the radical Islamic terrorists the hell out of our country, like I did for 4 years. Like I did for 4 years, I kept them out, right? The atrocities in Israel are a horrific reminder that immigration security is truly national security. It really is. It's national security. We have people coming into our country now that are the same people in many cases as did what they did 2 weeks ago in Israel. The purpose of U.S. immigration law is not to protect the world.
That's so ridiculous.
United States of America. We have to
He doesn't know anything about anything.
But as I've already said many, many times before, I will immediately reinstate and expand the wildly successful Trump travel ban on entry from terror-plagued countries, territories, and places. We're going to. They ended it. They ended it. If you're coming from somewhere full of people who want to kill Americans, we will not let you in. We work very hard.
Yeah, so he wants to bring back the Trump travel ban, as it's called. Of course, as I like to refer to it, the Muslim ban. I don't think his worked, did it? Like, didn't it get struck down by the courts? I think they had to make a new one. It's gonna get struck down by the courts again, bro. You can't ban certain countries. That's just doing the Chinese Exclusion Act, but again. Alright, let's keep going.
On that, we had the greatest border, most secure, safest border in the history of our country. Next, we'll implement strong ideological screening of all immigrants to the United States.
Ideological?
Haters, bigots, and maniacs to get residency in our country. We're not going to let them stay here. We're not going to let them. We're going to have the largest deportation effort in history.
Okay, come on. The largest deportation effort in history. Yeah, this is what we're dealing with, folks. Trump has not cooled down at all since 2016. He wants to kick out as many brown people as he can. So this is why I'm still gonna vote Biden if it really comes down to it. But, God, things are bleak.
If you empathize with radical Islamic terrorists and extremists, you're disqualified. You're just disqualified. If you want to abolish the state of Israel, you're disqualified. If you support Hamas or any ideology that's having to do with that, or any of the other really sick thoughts that go through people's minds, very dangerous thoughts, you're disqualified. If you're a communist, a Marxist, or a fascist, other than the people that are already here, of which many are in the Biden administration, you're disqualified.
Lol. No commentary.
In addition, we will aggressively deport resident aliens with jihadist sympathies. We have to. This isn't like...
Okay, where's the line, bro? How do you know that they have jihadist sympathies? Are you gonna, like, give them the jihadist test? You're gonna walk up to their house and be like, hey, how do you feel about Israel? This is a massive dog whistle right here. He definitely wants to deport Muslims with impunity. There's no set dressing here.
Being Mr. Nice Guy, we have to, or we're going to have a country that's going to be blown to shreds because bad things are happening. Millions and millions of people have come into our country and nobody has any idea where they're from.
This is just not true.
Never heard of. In the wake of the attack,
countries no one's ever heard of. Trump still got it though. As much as I hate to admit it, he still got the Trumpismo.
On Israel, Americans have been disgusted to see the open support for terrorists among the legions of foreign nationals on college campuses. They're teaching your children hate. They're teaching your children hate. Under the Trump administration,
have you been to college, bro? Come on.
Radical anti-American and anti-Semitic foreigners at our colleges and universities, and we will send them straight back home. They go back home. Enjoy your life. Literally barbarians that we saw in the streets of New York and other cities last week have no place in America. We can't have it. We have to...
Very coded language, bro.
And we all want to be nice, but no country can sustain it. Under my administration, we will proactively send ICE to pro-jihadist demonstrations to enforce our immigration laws and remove the violators from our country. Many of these people are not from...
So, proactively send ICE. That's very interesting. How do you know they're gonna be jihadist rallies again? Yeah, interesting to say the least.
From our country. Finally, we cannot forget that the same people that attacked Israel are right now pouring in at levels that nobody can believe into our beautiful USA through our totally open border and southern border.
Why would they be using the southern border to get here? It doesn't even make sense. You can just... Like, the 9/11 terrorists didn't come through the southern border. They took a plane and immigrated here normally. I mean, I know it's harder for Hamas to do that. That's why they're not doing it. Hamas is in Israel. They want to kill Israel. They don't care about us. Well, they probably do to a good extent, but they don't have any actionable plans in the U.S. That's ridiculous.
What? Civilization, concept of stupidity. Thank you very much, Iowa, and God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so that was the alternative to Biden. Unless we have a Democratic primary, that is. Yeah, you probably saw from the top here, we're talking about Marianne Williamson, baby. Yeah, I'm gonna put the full support of myself and whatever piecemeal audience this channel might get. Probably won't. But I'm going on the Williamson train all the way, baby. Because she's the only reasonable candidate on the stage. The only one, at least in this issue, which I think is the most important issue right now, I think that not supporting ethnic cleansing is pretty cool. So, what does she have to say? Here, I'll speed this one up. This is getting too long, like my last one. How do politics people keep these things short? This is tough.
And I want specifically to know how I analyze the situation and what I would do about it as President of the United States. We're walking into the jaws of hell here. Not only is there the issue of Gaza itself, Hezbollah is being active up north, and Iran is speaking overtly in a more menacing way than we've even heard them do before. This could turn into more than a regional war. This could turn into a global catastrophe. The United States should take a leadership role here. However, the United States taking a leadership role should not look the way it does now. Were I president of the United States,
So true.
I'd let the right people know that I have no trust in the leadership of Bibi Netanyahu. As far as I'm concerned, his ideas are what, in large part, got us into this mess. And I do not trust that the way he sees this, his militaristic,
Based,
smug, and arrogant idea about what should happen now, this is not the path that I would join with in partnership. Rather, I would begin making calls to world leaders, particularly Arab leaders, but others as well. There needs to be a multipolar response here. This is the thing. No matter what happens, even in what some would be.
I'm just gonna pause to direct your attention to the title here. It's very important that she's using this word specifically because you won't find a lot of other people in politics right now calling for a ceasefire. You're not going to. There's like, I don't know, 8 Democrats out of the hundreds in the House and Senate combined. Our boy Bernie Sanders has turned our back on us in a very sad display. He refuses to say the word ceasefire, and he'll only go so far as to call for a humanitarian pause. Marianne Williamson is being very clear.
Seeing the only solution here is a two-state solution. Those who are talking about one state, either from the right or from the left, the last thing you need is a one-state solution here. If anything is a prescription for a bloody civil war, it's one state. This is like the worst marriage you could consider possible, living in the same house. No. Israel does have an inherent right to exist, thank you. And so does a Palestinian state. And they should both exist. So these are the two choices as I see.
Now, this is the part of the whole conversation that is complicated. I would be willing to give more credence to her perspective than mine. I think a one-state solution could be a thing, but
See it. Either have one of the worst wars that we can possibly imagine. Please remember, Palestinians are terrified tonight, and so are Israelis. Why? Because they both are afraid we're on the brink of a terrible war. Because we are. We can stop this now.
God, it's so nice to see a candidate with actual human
End
emotions.
of this war. To start drawing up plans for a two-state solution. Start doing this now. And that is what I would be talking to Israel about, and that is what I would be talking to other world leaders about. That is the only possible solution here. There never was a military solution. Justice is the only solution. And justice is the only solution now. Justice for Israel and justice for the Palestinians is the same thing. Stop this now. And I believe that there are Arab leaders and possibly others who could help broker a deal, more so than they are doing now. Qatar is doing it. But we need more. If somebody can get in there and say, release those hostages in exchange for the cessation of these bombings. And let's get immediately to work on the parameters of a two-state solution. Other American presidents have tried. They have failed. But it's time to get it done now. Like I said, I don't trust that Bibi Netanyahu is the perfect person to work on this. But I know that there are enlightened leaders. There's a new breed of leadership in the Arab world, among the Palestinians, and among the Israelis. And they would be welcome in my office. So would any world leader who wants to find a way that we can get to work on a two-state solution in a way that the Israelis and the Palestinians will come to accept. Let's do that now. Let's stop this. Let's cease fire. It's more than a humanitarian pause. Let's stop this. Let's not do this. This is a horrifying possibility here. And yes, it is a possibility for World War III. And we need an American president who will say so. I would be that president if I was there right now. I will be a president who works together with Arab American leaders as well as Jewish American leaders. There are some fine, enlightened thinkers, heartfelt people living in this country who can help work out America's attitude, America's basic premise as it is applied to this situation, so that we can be active participants and leaders in the plans for a two-state solutions. It is time. Thank you.
Great stuff. Great stuff. No comments. I mean, it's just so refreshing. She has actual solutions. She has a hopeful message. That's the thing that she does a lot better than leftists generally. She has hopeful messaging. She has uplifting messaging. She's towing the line of optics very carefully here. It's not as derisive towards Biden as maybe I would like, but she's trying to appeal to liberals, okay? Liberals like Biden, although not as much anymore. So she's trying to, curtail her criticisms a little bit. She's being pretty soft, but I think it's important, as you'll see in another clip, she understands optics. Let's go to this one, I guess.
The establishment Democrats, they have a corporatist view of the world. The Democratic Party in the United States traditionally displayed an unequivocal advocacy, an unabashed advocacy for the working people of the United States. Starting in the Clinton administration, the Democratic Party began to split. Clinton formed what was called the Democratic Leadership Council. The idea was that we could have it both ways, that we could serve the corporate interests and at the same time take care of the people. So what they tend to do now is that they try to alleviate the stress of people who at this point are living at the effect of an inherently unjust economic system. But they will not challenge the underlying corporate forces that always make the return of that suffering inevitable. Now, many of the corporatists look at the progressive Democrats such as myself and act as though we're trying to hijack the party. In fact, they hijacked the party. We represent the views of someone like Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt. They represent what Roosevelt called the economic royalists.
She's so right. She's so right. The Democratic Party, for a time, I'm not gonna say they've always really been on the worker side, because they haven't. But for the period between FDR and Lyndon B. Johnson, they actually were working class advocates, pro-union. Their foreign policy was still dog shit, but post Carter and Clinton, it's a completely different party. And then they act like, no, actually, we've never been, radical leftists or whatever. We've always been about balancing the budget. She also brings up the point of, incrementalist, easing the suffering, which is a really good way to put it. The Democrats give you enough to get by so that you're not agitated enough to take to the streets. That's their strategy. They want us to be complacent. They'll do anything. They'll pass as little as they need to get by. Or, if you want to be more charitable, you can say that they pass legislation that's within the set boundaries that they're constrained within due to their donors. And I think that's probably more accurate. Let's keep going.
Who, for their own financial and ideological purposes, were consistently rejecting the greater actualization of a truly just society. That is my difference. That is the difference between myself and Joe Biden. Joe Biden takes an incremental approach to healing the deep wounds that have been created by neoliberal economics in the United States over the last 50 years. I, among other things, do not believe that that incremental approach represents an agenda that will be a compelling enough vision for the American people to choose it, as opposed to what most of us recognize now as a neo-fascist agenda of many aspects of the Republican Party. So this is not just about who could win in 2024, it's also about what it will take to repair the country.
That end screen kind of jump scared me, not gonna lie. Yeah, very clear messaging. She actually understands the dynamics of the Democrat Party. Let's keep going. I'm not gonna play this one. You know, she talks about more economics, how we've been screwed out of our money due to corporate deregulation and all that. She's very clear on the issue. She kind of has that Bernie quality to her where she focuses on economics a lot, which I think is good. I think it's effective. I wish she was a little bit more forceful at times, but maybe within the civility, brain-poisoned Democratic Party, she'll actually be pretty popular. I hate civility politics, personally, but you gotta play their game. This clip is the one that really caught my interest for her, and why I think she's a great candidate. Here, let's see what she has to say.
Days, and for good reason. I've been reminded of a quote by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He said, "We need to do more than end war. We need to end the beginnings of all wars." It's just like you can't just treat sickness. You have to learn to proactively cultivate health. And you can't just fight wars. We have to learn to proactively wage peace. That's why, when I'm President of the United States, we will have a U.S. Department of Peace. Peace building is a real...
Now, this blew me away. I'd never even considered a Department of Peace. But, I mean, you could justify that as being part of national security, as part of our defense. Because having peace with other nations contributes just as much to our safety as having the ability to defend ourselves in the case that a war happens. Because stopping war before it happens is arguably better.
Thing. A lot of people don't know that. There are 4 factors which statistically indicate, when present, that there will be a higher incidence of peace and a lower incidence of violence. Those 4 factors are greater economic opportunities for women, greater educational opportunities for children, a reduction of violence against women, and the amelioration of unnecessary human despair. When there are large groups of desperate people, that becomes a kind of petri dish out of which all manner of personal and societal dysfunction becomes inevitable, and that includes vulnerability to genuinely psychotic forces. So a Marianne Williamson administration will indicate a new beginning, a new chapter of American history. Will we have a strong military? Of course. I look at the military the way I look at a surgeon. If you have to have surgery, you better have the best one. And of course, the United States should have the best one and on hand.
Okay, this is why I knew she knows how to play the game. Because I know for sure she doesn't actually give a shit if we have the best military in the world or whatever. But she knows how to play the game. You know, she's doing the whole we gotta have the strong military line so that she doesn't get ostracized by the political community. It's honestly pretty smart. Very shrewd. Like this is what you need in a candidate, you know? A lot of leftists would be probably criticizing her for being like, oh, she's so pro-military or whatever, but it's just messaging. It's playing the political game. I think this is a very smart move. And, you know, She probably supports cutting the military budget.
However, a reasonable country, like a reasonable individual, would try to avoid surgery if at all possible. We need to begin again. We need to have peace games as well as war games. We need to learn to wage peace as effectively as when we feel we need to, we wage war. Otherwise, the potential for catastrophe in this century for us, for our country, and for the world is way too great. This is just one of many ways. We're not going to do things in the same old way. We're not going to stay stuck in the status quo. Remember, the status quo will not disrupt itself, but I will.
Some pretty good stuff. I guess if you're watching, Marianne, good job. I'm a big fan. Recent fan, too. I think that Marianne is probably the only hope of Democrats winning in 2024. If Trump is the candidate, that's the huge asterisk. If Trump is not the candidate, I think Democrats can pretty easily win. These other jokers are fucking uncharismatic as hell. Like, who are they gonna run? Nikki Haley? Pfft, forget about it. But in a primary versus Trump, we need someone who's clear. I've seen her on Fox News, and she actually knows how to combat Republicans and their, gish-galloping, vilifying, gotcha debate bro tactics. She actually knows how to play their game, or how to not play it, I guess, is the only way you can win. And I think that would be way better than a Biden who's like, Trump, come on, Jack, you're kind of mean, brother. Like, that's not gonna win. I mean, I know it won last time, but we gotta account for the America fishbowl brain. In 2020, Trump had literally, in that year, in the fall season, been responsible for millions of American deaths. You understand how insane that is? You understand how devastating that is to the country? Of course he lost. But America fishbowl brain, or America goldfish brain, there we go. That's the term. They don't remember that shit. 4 years have passed, bro. Nobody cares. They're like, Trump, yeah, he was the guy who did the tax cut and the wall, and things were pretty good until COVID, and he got unlucky. Like, that's your average American. I mean, some people even say he should have kept the economy open. They're mad at him for doing too much to stop COVID? I don't know. What I'm saying is, all of those past grievances, water under the bridge. Nobody remembers shit. Even January 6th is like a hazy, surreal dream at this point. So, like, I have no confidence that Trump's baggage is going to weigh him down against Biden, because Biden's baggage is very recent. Again, this whole war in Gaza is absolutely devastating for his poll numbers right now. There's a chance he could recover. And I guess the final possibility I haven't mentioned is that Biden or Trump, or both of them, realistically could die before the next year happens. And I mean, I'm not joking. Like, they're so old, bro. Like, one misstep down the stairs and it's over for either of them. One hamburger too many for Trump and it's, a cholesterol attack. So, that's why I'm taking some stake in this primary. A lot of people are dismissing it as if we already know it's going to be Trump v. Biden, but I think there's still a chance something can happen. And morally, I think we need to push for a Democratic primary before it's too late. But with all that out of the way, this video somehow ended up longer than the last one. I don't know how the fuck that happened. It's been a pleasure rambling for half an hour. I'm your boy Sphen. If you like the content, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Wow. Peace out, y'all. Have a good day.